We're recording now. This is the intro that we're using this time. I don't know how long it is.
What is this?
This is the canned intro for this software. This is amazing.
Somebody's slapping that bass.
Welcome, Internet, to the first episode we've recorded in literal months. We're doing this. It's going to be great. Makers on tap. That's who we are. I forgot.
Starting over.
Who are you?
I forgot how to do this. This is Joe.
This is Chris, who
And Aaron.
I have been told that I am elusive from the group. So
Chris
I
never
am
uses Twitter,
here.
so nobody can ever find him, even when he puts out a lot of effort into our projects.
man, we got a lot to talk about, that included.
Oh my gosh, so much to talk about. This is gonna be like a 3-parter hangout cast, probably.
Yep.
Right.
But to start, let's listen to this. That is the Makers on Tap everyday carry tool. Opening my beer.
Woo!
Yeah, there it goes. Somebody told us if we made some podcast swag, and we made a little tool not to make a bottle opener. So I made a bottle opener. That is also a bunch of different metric wrench sizes, and a ruler, and a pry bar, and a screwdriver. And I figured out the other night that you could like really hurt somebody if you held it in your hand and punched somebody with it. So it's also a self-defense tool when used in the right manner. I didn't defend myself, but I
Yeah,
We call it the MOT EDCT for short.
Modica.
Yeah.
Modica.
That might have to be the listing on the page.
The Modica.
Which, speaking of which, we're not putting a hard timeline on it, but we are working on a storefront. And it's really exciting.
Needs to have some sort of hard timeline though, because I don't want to make like 30 of these and then never have them all to myself forever. I don't want that.
Honestly, a hard timeline will be the best way to get me to finish it.
Okay.
These will be for sale by the end of January.
Yes, by the end of January, we will have some swag. And
I really wanted them by the end of December, but
yeah, it would have been cool to have them as Christmas gifts. Because not to brag, there is something that's coming out that I am pretty proud of. That we have a listing for. And I wish we had been able to get it out earlier, closer to the event, but I still think it's going to be fucking awesome for you to be able to get your hands on. I will give you a hint. It was a live stream event that we did that we were very proud of. That was a lot of fun. And so hopefully when everything comes together, we will have an awesome product to be able to pick up in commemoration of that awesome event. And how cool it was. So, yeah.
Maybe be prepared for the next awesome event. Who knows?
I mean, we're getting close to having to do that. There's no way things are going to be open by March.
No.
Are we in talks to? I guess that's an off podcast thing. I mean, After Dark's not. Are we in talks to do an After Dark?
I haven't started the discussion, but I also know that there were no issues with the last one, so maybe.
Okay,
I don't know.
maybe that's something to look forward to. Maybe we will have.
If you're listening, John, hit me up.
That would be a lot of fun. I am currently in the middle of upgrading an entirely new rig that will be able to handle these streams and more. Even better. So I'm really excited about that.
Boy, this podcast has already gone so ADHD. I don't even know what to think about it.
Right? What have
You're
you
very
guys
out
been
of
up to?
practice.
Wow.
Well, first off, what's everybody drinking tonight? We used to do that, right?
We used
did.
to.
Yeah.
Remember when you cared? I'm drinking Space Dust that you guys got me for my birthday. Thank you.
Yeah.
Aw.
I
It's
am
the only beer I had left that I could open with the bottle opener tool.
fair enough. Aaron, what are you drinking?
I have Triptych. The Way is Shut.
And that was so
It
good.
is a double India Pale Ale, and it's wonderful.
I don't think I've had that one yet. Did you get that locally?
Yes, it is at the alcohol store right near my house.
Okay.
I'm
Fair
very
enough.
excited with the amount of craft options they have. So I'm trying to support them because they're like 2 minutes from my house.
Fair enough. I am also sticking with tradition and having a zombie killer because it has been a little bit and I am really enjoying it. But yeah, what have you guys been up to? What have you guys been going away creating at?
Uh,
Do you want to go, Joe, or do you want me to go?
You should
I can
go.
walk through. Okay.
we should take turns on the different things that we're doing. Or
Yeah,
That's
we'll do
fair.
round robin. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Least interesting. Then it'll keep everybody
To build.
interested to stay on the show, to listen longer. Okay.
Do it.
I've been since we last recorded. I think I was already in the new house since we recorded last. But
yes, we were in you were in the new house when we did the Maker Forum episode.
Yeah. So I've been getting back into home automation, and a lot of my stuff has been DIY home automation devices. Something I've been passionate about for a very, very long time. I just haven't been in a house that I know I'm going to try and stay in to like put that investment into it. So I've had a lot of ideas in my head that I've been kind of ruminating on over the years and just kind of thinking through the use cases and how would I do this and that. One of them being like a mailbox, like a mail sensor, so I can know when the mail's arrived. Because my wife and I we like check the mailbox several times a day to see if the mail's come yet, right? And
Fair enough.
There's
wouldn't it just
nothing
be
else
nice
to do right now.
Yeah, there's that too. But wouldn't it be nice if just the mailbox told us that the mail had come? And so that's why I've set out to figure out. And so I made this mailbox sensor, and it's actually a Z-Wave door and window sensor, or Z-Wave Plus door and window sensor, which is a little read switch on the inside. And it's battery powered. It has some funky little short and fat battery.
Okay.
It's not a 9-volt, but it's like a really fat AA. It's really weird.
Oh, is it a C?
I don't know if it's a C. It's a weird ass format.
Okay.
Anyway, it's supposed to last like a year or two on battery. But if you take the sensor apart, there's actually some screw terminals on the inside that you can attach an external read switch to it instead of using the onboard one, because my mailbox is steel. So I wouldn't be able to put the sensor on the inside and get the signal out. So what I did was I bought a weatherproof electronics project box off Amazon. Has screws and a little O-ring gasket thing all around the outside. So it's like weatherproof. So I put the sensor in that, drilled a hole in the back, and I ran an external read switch so I mounted the box on the outside of the mailbox so the signal could actually reach my house, because it's about 50 feet outside the house. And so then the read switch connectors come out the box, then they go into the mailbox, and I just kind of taped the wires to the inside of my mailbox. But I put the read switch, right where the mailbox opens and closes. Then I put the magnet on the lid. And so it's a pretty simple approach. It was a neat DIY project. It only took 30 minutes, and it was super simple. It was fun because I got to make something, but like not have to like design it from scratch because that's the whole thing. But I was within an hour, I was able to slap together this mailbox sensor, and it's been working very well. Like very well. I'm surprised at how well it's been working. Like I got the magnets aligned just right, so like there's no double readings, there's no misreadings. Like every day I get the notification now that the mailbox has been opened. And it works so well. And that's going to lead up to actually all of my things for today were home automation projects, now that I realize it. Okay. So yeah, mailbox sensor, that's been a lot of fun. And it's been working really well. And it was super easy.
Fair enough. That sounds awesome.
How well would that work if I needed a mailbox that was across the street?
Oh, it would work just fine at your house, Joe.
Interesting. I want that.
Yeah, so I actually ended up, so Z-Wave is a mesh, right? It's a mesh protocol. So any other Z-Wave device can be a repeater. So my hub is in the basement. And it's another thing I've been working on is I'm wall mounting all my networking equipment, but I'll save that for later. My hub's in the basement. So I ended up buying a Z-Wave Plus outlet, like a smart outlet. And I put that up in the attic because I've got my main wireless access point and I set up an IoT / home automation access point. So it's a segmented Wi-Fi network. I have both those up in the attic. And so I added both a Zigbee and a Z-Wave Plus smart outlet up in the attic so that I can get very long range Zigbee and Z-Wave connections.
Okay.
So I put those up there. So then those essentially have that would be the best connection between the mailbox and the attic. So for you, I would just do the same thing where I'd put something up in the attic so like you get the biggest range.
Yeah.
Because then it's just going through like a single layer of plywood and maybe some asphalt shingles and gets outside. Having to go through all the foundation, all that stuff, you lose a lot of signal strength.
I would put mine in the basement window because I can't get to my attic. But there's a direct line of sight from my basement window to my mailbox. So
yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Awesome.
What have you been up to, Chris?
Oh man. If we're segmenting stuff and doing this round robin, I guess I should start off with the video.
Oh gosh, the video.
Yeah. So that was a whole thing.
Was it a whole thing?
It was a whole fucking thing. So
it started out with such good intentions, right?
It did. It really did. And like it still is awesome that it came out. It still is awesome that we're getting such a good reception from it and people want more and we totally are gearing up to be able to do more. But boy, starting out, man. So we obviously wanted to do a tool changer video. We were really excited to do the tool changer video. And we had a few hiccups during the recording process and we noticed some weird stuff. But we thought that we had catched it. We thought that we were catching it when it was happening and that everything was good. Yeah, we didn't. When I finally it took me like a couple days or so to sit down because I literally that next week I had to go back up to Chicago for work. And when I got back and I finally like unloaded all the footage onto my computer and I started sifting through it, I was like, oh, we're missing things. Like we're completely missing clips. We're missing audio. Like stuff's just gone.
What? Oh,
so yeah. So the entire part
you haven't told me any of this.
Oh yeah. So yeah. So here's what happened was I started listening and going through it and I started hearing this really loud screeching. And I actually sent Joe a clip of that. And it was just this like revving up and then it would pop and then audio would just die and it was gone. And then it would like do it again and then audio would come back. And what it was is it was a combination of both of our audio lavs and my lav would just not turn on the entire time. Like literally, I was not getting any audio on mine most of the time. And then Joe's would do the screeching a lot. And so I started listening through and trying to find stuff and trying to listen and figure out exactly what had happened. And yeah, we were missing parts completely. Like I mentioned, Brendan's part completely gone. The part where we talked about the air pump assist and all that, just gone.
The video or the audio?
Both the audio and the video were just gone. I couldn't find it on any camera. I've looked multiple times to see if I missed something. It was just gone. And
did we forget to hit record?
I think that's what happened. It was after one of the times that we had the audio fail. We went and started talking, and then we just forgot to hit record on something, and just that happened. And then the other thing was the microscope calibration. That's like, there is no video from that. There's a little bit of audio, and I can find that, but there's no video. Like none of the cameras picked that up.
That needed its own video anyway.
It did, which is it. So through that process, I spent I started doing that, and I need
to do that.
Yes,
like this week, because I have to redo all of my calibrations.
We can do that. I'm off. I'm off for the rest of the month, so I can totally come and do that.
Me too.
Yeah, no, we can come over, do a voiceover for that, and I can also test out the new Sony. That'll be really fun. Yeah, I got the Sony. I got the A7 III. So that's gonna be really exciting. So that's part of this whole thing. So basically I got all that, and I got really frustrated because I was just I was mad. Because I thought we had done all that for nothing, and I was livid. And so I sat for about 3 days and just didn't touch it. And then I talked to Laura, and I was like, hey, can you look at this and see if there's anything salvageable in this? And they were like, you know what? I think with some time and effort, you might be able to get something out of it. And at this point, I had already told Joe, I was like, it's a lost cause. We need to re-record. It's done. We're not going to get anything from it. And so me and Laura, over the course of about a week, re-edited that whole thing, changed audio levels, tried to get it to a point where it was good. We were using camera. You want to know where the majority of that audio came from in that video? Take a guess.
Probably the iPhone.
Some of it did. The DSLR was way too quiet. The iPhone was picking up a lot of the HVAC and was really gargled. The majority of that audio came from the Osmo.
Really?
Yeah. That's where the majority of that audio came from. I kept having to pull in the Osmo into actually do it. And when the Osmo wasn't recording, I was screwed, and I was trying to figure out where to pull audio from. But yeah, no, the Osmo for some reason had the best audio out of the iPhone, which is an iPhone 11, a DSLR, which is you don't have a Rebel, you have a Canon 70, ADD. So the ADD, it's not a problem on the ADD. The ADD did great video. The ADD was too far away from us to be able to record properly. That's ADD was a great camera.
I have a mediocre shotgun mic if we needed that for the next one. For backup audio.
We might record that for backup audio. So over the course of a week, we went to town and we got a video and we put it out, and people are liking it. They're not loving it, which is fine. It has myriad of issues, as Ray loved to point out. Love you, Ray. I really do. But I love that Ray is one of those guys. Again, I love you. Ray is one of those guys where he'll have a problem in the middle of the video and make a comment in the middle of the video rather than watching the entire video and then commenting. And he was doing that live in the Discord, and I was like, I know that issue. It does come up later, and it is resolved later. Oh man.
Yeah.
Just live tweeting all your failures.
Pretty much. He was doing that in the Discord, and I was like, I know. I very much put a primer at the beginning that this is a rough video. So it was a really fun experience. It was a really fun time to get to make that. We definitely plan on making more. Laura is excited to make more and do more stuff
Good.
with us. We really appreciated them. Laura, for Maker on Tap audience, is my partner, and they are incredible. And they do amazing stuff with video. That is their full time to do stuff like that. So over time, we'll be upgrading. Like I said, I already have the Sony. We're going to be shooting with a Sony A7 III, which is a phenomenal low light camera, and I cannot wait. Not only that, I got a 2477 2.8 f-stop, and I'm really excited to play. It's a Sigma series lens, but not Sigma. It's Sony's version of Sigma, which is GM. So it's a nice lens. We've already started playing with it a little bit. So we're gonna have some fun stuff. Oh yeah, this is gonna be where you see weird stuff. But yeah,
I also got a Zoom F1 coming. It'll be here on Thursday,
mm-hmm.
and then if that works out, we'll get a second one, and then we'll have good lav mics that record to not wireless things.
Yeah, that was the majority of the issue. I feel like was the wireless setup caused a lot of issues. And we saw some reviews on that. We were hoping that we could get away with it, that we were close enough to be able to do that. But the wavelength they were using to repeat back to the receivers was just so, it's a good way of putting it, infrequent.
Crap.
Yeah,
Crap.
It was just bad. It was real shit, and just wasn't able to actually hit the receivers, even though we were sitting less than 6 feet away from.
Yeah, it was direct line of sight.
Yeah,
but kudos to Amazon. You returned my money as soon as I brought it to Kohl's and talked to the nice goth girl at the counter. So,
goth girls.
It was such a hilarious experience because there was like me who like had an idea of my wits about me with my return paper and my item, which didn't have a box anymore, but apparently that doesn't matter. And then there was 3 old ladies like trying to tape their boxes back together and like holding their phone up to the girl and like, hey, when you see the Amazon app, you tell me and I'll find the return. And I was just like, I have this. Can I leave? She's like, yes, you can. And it was great. So yeah, I'm excited for the Zoom to come.
Yeah.
I really wish Zoom had their crap together and had the F2 out like they said they were going to by now. But when I emailed them, they were just like, we don't even know where our shipment is, let alone the manufacturer's shipments that we need to send them. We have no idea when it's coming.
I mean, that's fair with the current state of everything. Like, I'm currently in the middle of dealing with that myself over a Christmas present.
It's been the current state for 9 months. It's now the norm. It's not an excuse anymore. Damn it.
I mean, I just
want 32-bit audio for our videos so we can't clip anymore when we laugh. Ooh. I want it. I want it bad.
You know what's going to sound really nice when I finally hook up my Shure, my SM7B.
Why didn't you hook that up for this?
Because it is currently sitting at the new office, which is my next thing, and I will talk about that after you.
Okay. I'm going to hold up 2 things, and you guys tell me which to talk about first.
Talk about the MOT EDCT.
Yeah, you already gave a teaser on the tool. Go into the tool.
The Motic. All right, so the Motic. Let's talk about the origin of the Motic. I was walking with a coworker, and I was trying to pry out of him some dimensions of a tank that he was trying to replicate out of plastic, and I didn't think what he was telling me was possible. So I was like, how thick was this plastic? Well, I don't know. How
is this like a rolly explodey tank or like a reservoir tank?
A reservoir tank.
Okay.
It's like a plastic tank of liquid. And anyway, it's like, I don't know. I didn't have anything to measure it. And then we were talking about something else. He's like, I don't know. I don't have anything to like open that box with. And then I got really annoyed because I didn't have my EDC Toolie keychain, which was a wrench that fits from Tactical Keychains that I've had for a few years now. And it's awesome. And I was thinking, like, I bet I could come up with something that fills a lot of roles for like the 3D printer dudes and would be fun to have and make. So I did. I went to a meeting the next hour and I sat down and I drew this instead of paying attention to the meeting. I still contributed to the meeting, but I walked out of it with a sketch for the MOT. And at the end of the sketch, we have our cool little keychain dude. I'll post pictures of it the day after this episode releases. How's that?
Yeah.
Or the day this episode releases. But it's got an M3 nut wrench, an M4 nut wrench, which also happens to be the size of a V6 3D printer nozzle from E3D. It's got a M6 nut wrench and an M5 wrench, and then it's got two little hexes that are like, what are these hexes for? And those hexes are for 1/4-inch drive bits and 4mm drive bits, which are precision screwdriver bits, and a bottle opener and a 50mm ruler that's segmented out into 5mm increments, because I didn't want to do millimeters because it would have looked ridiculous. And it's got a little screwdriver and a little pry bar nib. And they turned out awesome. We made the first run in stainless steel. We used a service called Send Cut Send because I don't have a laser cutter that can cut stainless steel. They're made out of 1/8-inch 304 stainless, and they're awesome. But there's some skill acquisition involved with it. Even though I sent them out to be made, I still had to grind the edge on them with our belt grinder at the makerspace, which was interesting. And then the laser cutting had like a little bit of a burr. And actually, I think it's not from the laser. I think the burr that was left on them was actually from their deburr process, because of how the burr is on the edge. It's not like out the back like dross would be from a laser cut process. It was like rolled over the edge. So I think it was from their brushing process. But either way, I didn't want to do that to a whole bunch of them, like sit there with the sander and clean them off. So I did some research into deburring processes and came up with tumbling was the best option. And then it was like, shit, I don't have a tumbler, and I don't know anybody who has a parts tumbler available. So I sat down and I thought about it for a minute, and I looked at tumblers on the internet, and I said, I bet I could make one of those with shit I have here. So I went and got my Cohesion 3D rotary axis and a spare controller board and a coffee can, and ordered some ceramic tumbling media from McMaster Carr that was supposed to leave a nice surface finish, but also take off burr from steel. And wrote a G code for the rotary axis that will apparently run the rotary axis for 3 days.
Nice.
All right.
And threw them in the coffee can for overnight, and now they're like silky, soft touch smooth, and there's no burrs, and it took off all the they were kind of like straw colored on the edges from the laser process from where the heat was. It took all that off.
Oh, nice.
They're just gorgeous. So I'm really thrilled with them. Now I'm going through the adventure of figuring out how to package them and how to make it an experience when you get them.
We need a proper unboxing experience.
Yeah, like when we initially made them, I was like, we could just throw these in a bubble wrap mailer and like call it good,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we should still do that.
We could do that, but like,
I mean, it's the easiest packaging method.
it definitely is. But
I made my
also,
own custom box for an eBay thing, and that fucking sucked.
I'm not thinking a custom box. I'm thinking a purchased box. Like there's two levels to this. Like there's still a yet unacquired version of this that I would like to do.
Yes.
That it's like the ultra premium version that will probably be a little nicer than the initial one that we're doing.
I cannot wait for that.
So yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but there's a lot of thought going into it. I really like good unboxing experiences. Like a lot. Like when I get something and I can tell somebody put a lot of thought into how this was going to be presented to me from the time I open up the mailer to the time it's in my hand, I appreciate it.
I should have like videoed opening up the Xbox Series X, because that was what it was. It, like I opened it and it was like, oh, this is supposed to be an experience, like opening this. And because I've seen somebody opening up a PlayStation and it's just fucking styrofoam in a cardboard box, like that's all it is. Yep. But the Xbox is like, it has that Apple aesthetic, but in Xbox colors, and I was like, all right, I see what you're doing. Like it looks good, so I can appreciate that we're trying to do that and like trying to make something that'll be fun for people to be able to actually get their hands on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of the projects. There's another one.
Fair enough. Aaron?
Oh, it's my turn. Okay.
Go for it.
Yeah, so I'm also working on a home automation Omni sensor for each room. So the idea, I've got it right here.
Are you going to turn into Tim?
Oh, I'm much better at Tim at this.
All right.
I just have less money.
You know Tim's going to hear that and call you out, right?
I am working on designing it's an Omni sensor. So it had, and I say that because it's going to do temperature, humidity, motion, light, and lux. And it's also going to have a couple screw terminals for door and window sensors.
Is it light?
And then it's all with a ESP8266, like a Node MCU dev board.
Yeah.
I've got it down to a really small package, and I was going to be like all done. Like I'm holding up like a fully soldered version. And then I realized when I was about to put it up that I forgot to even add the screw terminals in the board design. I feel like an idiot. So I got to unsolder all these and try and get them out. But so it's going to be all those into one. And so I'm using a Habitat Evolution Hub. And they have a really neat little plugin called the Maker API. And it gives you a little HTTP GET based API for pretty much any custom DIY automation device. And it just does simple, you just make a GET request, like an HTTP GET request, really simple. And then you just throw in there the API key it spits out at you. And you can post pretty much anything to a device that you set up, with the permissions and whatnot. So I wrote I have the Habitat driver and stuff because it's written in Groovy for it's like Python for Java is a good explanation of Groovy.
I didn't know Groovy actually was a language. I just thought it was like a color scheme. That's funny.
Oh, no, it's a language.
Huh.
It's so it runs on the JVM, the Java virtual machine.
Yeah.
And it's loosely typed. Like all the stupid Java boilerplate that you're used to with Java, you don't have to do it in Groovy. Like you can just not do it. And so you just like script out Java stuff. It's kind of neat. It's interesting. So I've got the driver and stuff in Habitat all written for this. And the idea is all I have to do is read in all the sensor data and then, just make an HTTP GET request to that device in Habitat and just kind of give it that data. So the idea is this will just be AC powered with like a USB, AC adapter. I'm actually gonna, for each room that I'm gonna put these in, I've decided that I'm actually going to replace the electrical outlet where I'm going to put them with one of those outlets with a built-in USB charger.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to get like a long USB charger cable and actually run it up the inside of the wall, up to where I'm going to mount these. So you shouldn't see any wires except for near the outlet, and it's going to go right into the USB charger part of it. That way I get all the nice, UL safety certifications and all that jazz, while still, minimizing wires and adapters and whatnot.
Nice.
But I'm really excited for this because it'll be one device per room, and it will do pretty much all environment sensing that I want to do for all my stuff. So like I want to know if someone's moving in the room, or this new house, it's very oddly heated. So like some rooms are colder, some are hotter. So I want to actually like start logging all that data. I'm actually, once I get the stuff set up, I'm actually going to set up like an InfluxDB time series database, and also like shove all that data into that as well. But these are going to be like the foundation to my smart home.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get this design done.
Nice.
Fair enough. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm just using a basic DHT22 for the temp and humidity.
I use that in my smart enclosure for my chameleon.
Yeah, it's real simple. I've got some sort of PIR, infrared motion detection sensor. I got it off of the Bruh home automation channel because he made it a multi-sensor, and I kind of based mine off of that. But he found a really neat sensor that has signal filtering built in, because the ESP's Wi-Fi will interfere with a non-signal filtered infrared sensor. So I got that on here. And then I'm using the BH1750 light sensor. I was originally using like a standard light resistant diode, and it's cheap and it's easy to use, but it's like, it doesn't give you a good light measurement. It's very relative, and it's very like, yeah, it's bright, no, it's dark, and that's about it. Like there's no like scientific measurement, because I want to be able to see if it's light or dark. What I really want to do is be able to dim my lights throughout the house based on the ambient light coming in through the windows.
So always have like a constant level of light in the room.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So like the sun's out, the windows are open, like turn the lights off or dim them. But as the sun goes down, start bringing the lights back up to compensate. Like that sounds really neat. Yeah. So I want to be able to do stuff like that. So I need a better light sensor. So this BH1750 outputs actual lux, which is like the light unit measurement. And it's actually, it reads light very much like our own eyes, like our own irises, as far as
does it measure in nits or does it measure in lumens?
I don't know.
Okay.
All I know is that the chip itself will output actual lux as a value.
Fair enough.
I tried. There's some hacky calculations you can do with an LDR to try and get lux out of it, but it's not good. So I went in and replaced it and redesigned it. So
now light is always something that I'm like super interested in, and like different ways of measuring it and whatnot, because obviously it's part of my job.
Right.
So like cool light measuring things are always fun to play around with, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So all I have to do is add those screw terminals, and then this should be good to go.
Nice.
I just have to figure out how long of a lead I can get by with for the reed switches. I bought a shit ton of reed switches. I have like 50. Because I'm like, how many do I need because like pretty much every room has a window and a door, and some have multiple windows. So I'm just going to put those in like series. So if any one is open, because also that will enable like a neat little, alarm system.
Yeah.
Or, or like if I say, I want to be able to. I'm eventually going to try and tie it into my iPhone so I can be like, hey, hey Siri, like, turn the house off. We're going to bed. Check, because every night, my wife's like, do you turn the lights off in the hallway in your office, whatnot? And I want to walk all the way out there just to see if I turn the lights out or not. With the light sensor, it can check that. With the reed switches, it'll check if we have all the doors and windows shut.
Yeah.
So it's like this is literally the foundation for a lot of automation, possibilities. So I'm trying to get that all ironed out.
Yeah. Are the reed switches normally open or normally closed?
I don't know. I think you can get them in both. I'm not sure which ones I ordered.
That
think
will
they're
matter
normally
for how you
closed.
wire them if you do them in series.
Good point.
But yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I will say, as somebody who already has that set up, but in the very much closed sourced China can see into my house way, it is really nice to be able to say the robot's name, all lights off, and every light in the house goes off. Like I have two routines. One is all lights off, and the other one is bedtime, which shuts all the lights off, and now the Christmas tree, it turns that off, and then it turns just the bedside lamps up to like 5%. So it's like just enough to like continue to read or watch TikTok or whatever, but it's like it turns everything else off in the house. So
yeah, that's what I want to get to. Is just tell it to shut the house down when we go to bed.
Yep.
And then
like between that and then putting the camera, I now have a backyard cam. I am very much close sourced and doing this the really expensive way, but dude, it's so nice and you're gonna love it when you get to it.
Yeah, I'm not super like hung up on the open source thing yet. Like I went with the Habitat Hub because I wanted so Habitat's written by ex Smart Things developers. So they used to work with Samsung Smart Things, and they went and they started their own thing. And I really like home automation as a project and like as a hobby, but I don't want like to maintain another server. Like I already do that. I already have plenty of those, and it's like I'm trying to minimize all of that. So like that's why I'm not running Home Assistant, which is like the biggest DIY home automation software. But like it's a whole thing you have to maintain and manage, and things break every other release because it's just super active. I'm like, I don't want any of that. I just want to pay some money, and somebody else manages all of that. I don't mind writing the custom drivers and apps and stuff because that's a one-time investment for me. It's a one-time cost. I don't want to keep having to come back and update whatever and maintain a Linux server running Home Assistant and blah 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 blah. Like,
yeah, I can't wait.
I'm
to
really
shut
happy with my setup so far.
I will say, now that I have a NAS and I just have this Synology, it is so nice not to have like another server up and running.
No,
because I just like shut that down, and it was like, yeah, I just threw like two 500 gig SSDs M2s in there, and it's already got 8 gigs of RAM. Like it just runs Plex. It just runs Plex, no problem. And then like all of the other stuff that I have on there.
I haven't even plugged my NAS back in since we moved. It's still unplugged. It's like I still want to dick with it.
I noticed it.
I just
went on Plex the other day and I was like, Aaron's is down.
Aaron's always down.
It's like I just don't want to dick with it. I'm planning on a Synology next year. It's just too much Christmas expenses to get.
Yeah, they did have a deal on Amazon, which is where I got the NAS, and it was just marked down like $100, and I was like, "This is my sign."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, anything else, man?
I mean, I have one other thing, but
we've done so much over the last few months.
For real. Well, I mean, I can talk about the one thing that I've been working on all of today, which is I am excited to announce the Guild has got its own space.
Yay!
We are We're currently building it out right now. I put in a bunch of storage shelves and I started moving stuff over today. And like getting it all set up and getting it cleaned up and whatnot. We already had a mishap where they told me that one of the windows works and it totally didn't and the hinge broke. So I immediately ran and went and got the facilities manager. I was like, yeah, you're gonna need to take a look at this soon because I don't want my window open all night. So that was exciting, but we have a lot of the stuff over there. And then tomorrow I'm basically moving everything else over. And at that point, I will start being able to potentially build the PC this weekend, and get that up and running. So that'll be what's that?
What are you building? What's in it?
So it is, I went with a whole like banger PC because I'm like, I build my PCs to last like 6 to 8 years. I want it to last basically a console generation. I don't want to have to upgrade it every so often.
Yeah, that's pretty much where mine's at. I think mine's 7.5 or 8.
Yep. I have it's a brand new Republic of Gamers Asus motherboard. That is a oh shoot, I can't remember which series it is, but it's the 2020 series. It's the non-Wi-Fi 2020 series. I got a i7 what is it, 1200 or no 112 gear 112 series, or 112,000 series with a 1.9 gigahertz processor. I got 2 sticks of M2 SSDs, 1 terabyte to go right directly into the board. It's going to have 64 gigs of RAM right off the bat. And then I'm going to be putting a 3080 in it. It's going to have water cooling, like LED fans, the whole shebang. I got a brand new monitor for it, which is a LG HDR 27-inch gaming monitor with 1 millisecond response time, with G-Sync enabled. So all the exciting stuff. It is going to be a very big gaming setup for me to be able to do whatever the fuck I want on it. But yeah, I'm mainly building it because not only is the podcast starting to get to a point where we're doing really cool events and we're doing all this cool stuff, but we've also been asked to do a couple events, like on the side, and that's mainly been me, but Joe's actually kind of helped through that. So with the potential of us doing stuff like that, I wanted to kind of upgrade the rig to be able to handle that, and be able to process those things very quickly and be able to do that. So I went ahead and got a NAS so I can offload all my storage onto the NAS so I don't have to have that on my computer, and then upgraded everything on the PC so that way it'll run like butter. And then this computer that I'm currently on right now will be turned into a permanent VR rig. So that I'm also excited for. It's just going to be, it's literally going to go on a cart with a TV, and then it will have 2 telescope stands that'll have the other stuff on it. And it will literally just be able to roll around and then mobile setup VR.
Nice.
So I'm also excited for that because we, when events do start happening again, the guild really wants to get out there and really wants to start making a presence in the area. And we have several events planned to be able to drive that. And with the new space, we're going to be able to do a lot of those. But going to events, we'll be able to host stuff like Beat Saber and Super Hot and all those kind of fun games in VR. And with the new space, we have so much freaking space. I didn't even realize that we had an entire gymnasium available to us today. So I'm already thinking of stuff like cosplay ball or dance party or whatnot, and people will be able to come in and cosplay. and do all of these like really fun type events like that. We have an entire courtyard available to us, so we'll be able to do stuff like cookouts and whatnot and have a lot of fun. So we are very excited and looking forward to hopefully the latter part of, or the last half of 2021, to be able to do a lot of really fun stuff with the guild and get back out there and make cool stuff again.
Glad you're optimistic.
Man, I'm trying. I'm also just in a good mood right now. So
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, that is we're going to be setting that up this week and this weekend. So that's really fun. But yeah, that's my second thing. I got one more. So Joe, you wanna shoot?
It's gonna be long.
Go for it.
All right. So we've hinted in the past towards the little open source CNC I've been working on. And it's like a thing now. It's not quite ready to release, but it's damn close. And I've been machining aluminum with it for the last 2 days, and it's just kicking ass, and I'm really thrilled with it. I just did a part right before we started recording that should have been 54 millimeters squared, and it's 53.95 and 96. I'm okay with that because it's mostly 3D printed parts, and I'm not babying it. The weakest link of the CNC is the router. If the router had more ass, I could cut harder, but it doesn't. So, yeah, it's turning out to be pretty awesome. There's lots of discussion on it on our Discord, but basically the gist is, if you have a table saw and an Ender 3 or bigger type 3D printer, you will be able to build this thing and make decent CNC parts with it and learn. That's the biggest thing. There's lots of forced skills acquisition in it. So there's like tapping steel and stuff. And yeah, I did that on purpose. We totally could have made it out of extrusion, but I want you to get over drilling and tapping steel because it's not that hard.
Get over it.
Yeah. There's lots of forced skill acquisition in it, and it's tons of fun because of that, I think. It's fully enclosed. It's about the same footprint as like a Nomad or like the Bantam CNC. It's 20 inches by 20 inches ish footprint. And in that we have a 295 by 220 cut area by like 60 millimeters or so. So enough to like do decent sized stuff. Like I could have milled most of the parts for the 4x8 CNC in the milk crate.
Oh,
so yeah. I think the only thing I couldn't have done is my Z plate, and that's just because it's really big. Like if I would have made it a reasonable size, I totally could have done it. But yeah. It's been fun. It's designed all in Fusion right now. I'm like really debating on designing it all over again in FreeCAD because my Fusion design has been really messy. It's iterated. It's had 2 big iterations, and I've had a lot of small iterations. This is probably the most thought I've ever put into a single machine. And I think it's starting to show. There's like little quality of life things like wrench holes to get into access areas, and one of my favorite things is there's a vacuum port in the back. It's just like little things that you don't think about until you're like, man, boy, I wish I had that. We're trying to figure out how we can add vacuum actuated louvers to the front. Because the problem is right now there's not enough makeup air in the box So the shop vac like does something, but it doesn't do enough. But if we had vacuum actuated louvers in the front, it'd draw air across the box and it would pull into the hole. But it wouldn't have open holes in the front for things to fly out of if you weren't running the vacuum. So like, yeah, lots of good discussion, lots of good thought. Eventually it will get released, hopefully. I learned yesterday that if I jog the Z to max, which I'd never done before because I didn't have home switches until yesterday, the router comes outside the window. like it opens the door.
Okay.
So as I'm going through and I'm doing things like adding limit switches, I'm learning new things about the design, and I have to go back and fix those, and that's an easy fix. But it's it was funny because I was planning on cutting at least 3 panel sets this weekend. I was going to do a set for Aaron, a set for me, and a set for our friend Adam that wants to help with the beta version of this. And I got thinking, like, instead of cutting those panels, I should really like finish wiring out the limit switches and like try and cut something on this version, and like should really do that. And I'm glad I did, because adding limit switches made me need to change the panels significantly. Like initially it was like, oh, I need to add a hole here so I can run a wire there, and I need to do this. And that wasn't a big deal. And then I homed Z and I went, oh, you come out the box now. Crap.
Is that a problem just with the open builds router, or would that be any CNC spindle would pop it out?
Well, the open builds router, or the carbide rather, they're the same body. They're very small for trim routers. So yeah, I think it would be a problem with any of them. And actually, now that I ran into that, I want to get the dimensions of a 1.2 or a 1.5 kilowatt spindle, so I can make sure that would fit in the box.
Yeah,
that was always part of the intention of going with the 65 millimeter router, is you can buy a 65 millimeter spindle and just drop it into the hole and start up. So I want to make sure that fits in the envelope that I have dedicated to it. But yeah, it was an eventful weekend with cutting with it. The initial router that I had blew up. It's been replaced. There's one coming tomorrow. So I'm not sure what happened there. I'm going to chalk it up to a fluke until I blow another one up. But what was cool is I had a spare router. So I had the open builds router 11, and I had the carbide 3D router, which are the same exact body. And the open builds router was the one that blew up. And I'm really sad about that. But they're replacing it, and we'll find out how that's going to go.
Were they surprised at how it failed?
Yes. Yes, they were. They're very adamant that they get the one that I have back as soon as possible for investigation.
Nice.
I think it was a fluke because I immediately did the thing you do when something goes wrong. You go look on the forum and see if anybody else had the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's posted about it, and I feel like
super new.
Yeah, well, I mean, people have been cutting with it since late November.
Yeah.
So it is pretty new, but not so new that nobody else would have had a problem. Because that was the second.
You said that was second cut?
Second cut. Not second cut, but the second project. So
okay.
It is still in the order of minutes of cut time on it.
Yeah.
So
that was literally what I was about to ask, was how many hours of cut time. But if it doesn't even have an hour.
Yeah, I cut that fuck 2020 ornament, and then I cut this plate. So, but early hour failure, I would chalk it up to it was just faulty from the beginning.
Yeah.
So, And they're replacing it, so it's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, what was cool is I unlocked the spindle mount, slipped that one out, put the Carbide 3D one back in, ran the wire, retouched off Z, and started cutting again. To be able to change out the entire spindle as easy as changing out an end mill was pretty neat. That was something that I'd never experienced. And the first version that I cut with, in the videos of it cutting, you can actually watch the spindle like dig in, and like you can see the whole Z-axis flexing. There isn't any of that in this one, and I was cutting harder than I did on the first one. But I've since backed that off a little bit, and I've been trying for very reliable feed and speed recipes instead of like, ooh, look at how hard I can push my router feed and speed recipes.
Yeah.
So, and I think I have some pretty good ones now that like I'm semi-comfortable walking away from the router with. So, which is cool because it takes a little while to cut when you have a light cut. And it's nice to not just hover over the escape key the whole time.
Yeah.
But
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm excited. Very excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited to start building mine.
It's not far off. It's closer than it's not. How's that?
Thank you.
I feel like I've been saying that for a while, but like it's not like I've been putting things off. It's like there's gonna come a point where I have to design freeze it and just say like, this is good enough for you guys to get started, and then we'll like iterate on it beyond that. But like when I find things like the router doesn't fit in the box when it goes to Z Max, I gotta change that. That's not okay.
Yeah.
You don't want it just like opening the door and being like, hi. All right, we'll go back down now. Mid job. So
maybe that's how you get all that extra airflow.
It would definitely do it. The first time I opened the air up while I was cutting with the acrylic ornament that I cut for the first job, it just like all is like one big whoosh, and it like just sucked everything into the corner. It's like, oh, huh. You're gonna have to fix that. That's a job for a different day.
Oh man.
Now I just occasionally open the window and like give it a flap, and that does a pretty good job. But yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Aaron?
What else you got? We've been doing stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think probably the last home automation product I've been working on, which I'm actually very excited for, is voice or text to speech notifications. So, for instance, verbally notifying us that the mail has arrived, or that the garbage goes out tomorrow, so we can get the totes out, stuff like that. I've been looking at different options. Habitat actually has a built-in feature for it, where let's see, the first time it makes a call, it actually makes a call to AWS Poly, which is AWS's neural network powered, text speech synthesizer. And then it caches that file locally for you to play. So, only the first time it requires internet, but then every other time it, plays a local cache, which is a really neat approach that I haven't really seen before. And so that's kind of neat, but it stores the MP3s on the hub itself, and any speaker that wants to use it has to like accept a request from the hub to play it, but then the device then has to reach back into the hub and streams the file from the hub. It's very awkward. VLC has a functionality for that. So you can actually do like a little VLC player server and have it do that. And I did that for like a couple days, but it was very flaky and it wasn't very like robust. So, and you're looking around in the text to speech automation landscape, there's really not many other options. you can use some Google Home Minis or any other Google or whatever product, but those require internet access to work. And
Yeah.
if your internet goes out, they won't say anything.
Yep.
I looked at all the open source text to speech generators and all those engines like Festival and the Mycroft, API, but like all those, none of them sound good. You can understand what they're saying, but it sounds like an 80s robot. Which
so you literally mean
what?
like doesn't sound good? Like
yeah, it sounds like a really raspy, garbly robot from the 80s.
Okay.
And not in a good way.
Oh, okay.
I know. I was like, Joe's right there. I'm like, that's kind of my jam. But not in a good way.
So it's not my Australian, deep Australian Siri that I have set right now. Then.
Oh, that's what I have for my my Google Assistant.
Yeah. So
do you also have Aussie?
Yeah.
I actually have a British one set up for mine.
We are all men of class.
So what I ended up doing was I actually I wrote my own in Python. I'm using the same approach as Habitat, where it'll cache the MP3 locally. But I'm using Google's text to speech thing because they have a very generous like free tier each month. Yeah. So for my usage, it should be pretty much free forever. But it was really interesting to write because I'm implementing I'm still working on it. It's pretty much like 95% done. I'm working on a non-blocking queue based approach, which I don't think any hub or any other voice notification does. Most of them, you have your device make a call, say, you tell it to say this phrase, and it'll say the phrase. But if you have multiple calls back to back, let's say you have multiple event notifications back to back, a lot of options, they won't like queue them up and then play them all one after another. They'll just play one. And if it's already if it's already talking, it may not say anything. Or if it's already talking, it might just stop talking and say the new one. It's very hit or miss with a lot of these systems. So I'm actually working on like a kind of like a first in, first out queue based system to where any device can make a call to it to say this thing, and it gets added to the queue. And then I'm trying to come up with like an asynchronous type queue based approach. So like every device that makes a call, it says, say the thing, and then it gets a response back. Okay, it's been added to the queue. Keep going. It's not going to wait for the queue to get the response back or whatever. So I'm still working on that. But I've got like the calls to Google working well, and I've got it talking through the Linux sound system working well. Really now I'm just down to ironing out some bugs with the queue-based system because I haven't. It's using the Python multi-threading library, so I'm getting into the realm of thread safe stuff and all that jazz. It's very annoying and complex, but I'm working on it. But I'm kind of hoping that will actually come out, be a good potential for maybe a product to sell because like no one else is doing what I'm trying to do, and depending on how I set it up, it might, I don't know. I'm still trying to suss all those details out. And I feel like I have all these great product ideas, but then I never follow through with it because I just don't know how to go about doing all that.
That's what we're trying to flesh out with the MOT.
Yes.
We're trying to figure out that, right? Because I got like 36 more ideas after the Modic that are, not far from it and just as easy to get going. But we got to figure out the part where people give us money and we give them the thing, right?
Yeah.
So I can make it. I just got to figure out how to make it go somewhere else for money.
If we figure this out, then I really want to make some more for other stuff on my side as well.
Remember how this wasn't going to be a podcast about how to turn your hobby into making money?
Fuck.
We're doing that now.
Right.
Well, now we're not giving anybody advice. Now they're just listening to us fumble through as like idiots.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. Everybody else is like, turn your hobby into everyday income. And we're
the
like,
thing is that we're not relying on it. It's
no.
more right now. It's like we just want to keep it going. So we're not like trying to make a whole profit off it. If we do make any profit off of it, it goes back into the podcast. It goes back into MOT. So that way we can keep improving it and doing cool stuff with us. Like, I think that's the biggest thing is like, we're not trying to make this our full time under no circumstance, but like, we're just trying to make it something that we can still enjoy doing and make it better for more people to be able to see it. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, like we're using Zencaster now, which has been really nice for recording.
Yeah, so we're in the Zencaster video beta, which has been
This is kind of neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been running pretty smooth. Like, it's kind of nice not to have like 3 windows open for like Discord and Reaper and Slack just to make sure that everything's like kosher. So just to have it all in one and then it output like an amazing file. Like, fuck yeah, why wouldn't we do that?
This has been awesome. So thank you, Zencaster, for letting us into the beta early. They're like, yeah, we shouldn't do this, but here you go. I was like, all right. I just wanted to know when my queue spot was coming up because I signed up for it like 4 months ago.
Yes,
we will switch back the intro soundtrack back to our normal one next week. Promise.
Or will we? What was that intro again? Let's hear it. I love having a soundboard. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, dude, I got a soundboard with the new computer too.
Oh,
what
fun.
do you use for a soundboard?
Well, the Streamlabs or not Streamlabs, Elgato
The
Stream Deck.
Oh,
yeah,
Stream
I got
Deck.
the XL one, so it's got like 24 buttons that are all programmable on it.
Man, I was digging around on the Shapeoko forum the other day, looking for feeds and speeds for the Shapeoko because they would like translate directly to the milk crate. And some dude made a Stream Deck pendant, like a jog pendant for his Shapeoko. So it had nestable menus. So you like the first nest was like to jog around, and then you hit the menu button and it dropped you down into like setting your tool offsets and everything, and like changing your work offsets and doing the like start the program, end the program, all that. It was very cool.
I made that Stream Deck out of the Arduino Leonardo and a touchscreen.
Yeah,
I've got that just over here somewhere. I should set that up for my own little podcasting soundboard.
We should set that up to replace the Open Builds interface. It's really expensive. I understand why it's so expensive. It does a lot of awesome things, and it would be an incredible
really
hardware project. But it's
really neat for what it is, but it is very expensive for what it
But
is.
if you're replacing a computer, it's not.
Right? Yeah.
But Anyway,
my thing will not send G code, but it can certainly output.
You can send hotkey strokes, which the Open Builds control can take hotkey. There has assignable hotkey strokes, so there's stuff we could do there.
Yeah.
But I have more soundboard effects that I want to try out. I have dramatic piano.
What are you using for a soundboard, Joe?
Wait, can we change the soundboard cues?
Yes. Oh my god.
So can we make that like instead of sad piano, be it like sad Hulk from like the Luther Rigno days?
Yes. You can have it do the Dale Dimmadome stuff you were doing before we started.
Oh man, we have up quality so much.
Yeah, there's this plus button, and I just have to point it at a WAV file, and then we can add whatever we want.
Is that like in an admin panel?
Yeah.
Okay.
our old Zencaster account, I had our intro loaded into it. That's how I was doing the intro before. And I thought it just pulled our intro in to this, which is why at the beginning I was just like, intro. And then, it did this thing. And, that's not our intro, but it could be.
Oh, man.
Give us your feedback. Comment section below. Smash that button.
Smash that like button.
Oh my
like,
God.
comment, and subscribe.
I mean, do it, but I'm not sure where. Yell at us on Discord. That's the best place.
Fair enough.
And Twitter.
Do you wanna call it there, or do you have something else, Joe? I've got one more, but it's really short.
I don't have. I am talked out.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I will say, just because he does listen, and I will give him credit. I have all of the equipment minus the control board for the Andromedus Rex. So it is all sitting at my house. Indominus Rex. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is Adam's take at making the T-Rex 3 way better, which it will. And it will also get rid of the freaking squeaking from those wheels that I can't wait for. That was the biggest. Joe was like, do you really want to spend the money on the linear rails? Like, is that something that's really going to be something that you want? And I was like, yeah, just to get rid of the squeaking. I will absolutely do it just to get rid of the squeaking.
Yeah, we can.
When that's going for like 12 hours, I don't want to listen to squeaks.
Yeah, I understand.
So as soon as the Duet Mini comes out, I will be building an Andromedus Rex. Indominus Rex.
Have you not seen the new video?
I have. I keep pronouncing it wrong.
Didn't you go like the premiere for it or something?
No, that was the Fast and the Furious. No, that was Shaw or Hobbs and Shaw. That's what I went for. Yeah. Anyways,
terribly.
Hey, we love you guys. It's good to be back. Some people have said that, hey, are you guys still alive? Yeah, we're just depressed. Like, along with everybody else, this year's gotten hard. But I think this was just such a nice refresher to come back to laugh, to just have fun. So though we took a short break, I hope that we'll get back to kind of a normal schedule and be able to keep pumping these out and just keep talking. So we love you guys. You guys are awesome, and we love you guys in the Discord, just talking to you and whatnot. So yeah. With that, keep making stuff.
This is the end of the podcast.
Whoop it down. All right, this is it for real now.